Hey y'all, let's paint this super cute pumpkin that I have cut out. It has the design etched in it that makes it easy to add those details, little less stress, no freehand drawing required. We're doing this as part of the Pumpkin Palooza that's presented by A Common Canvas collaboration. Try to say that a few times fast. So I'm just going in here, first of all, and covering, painting in the base. I'm just using a blue chalk paint, and I use either acrylic paints by Apple Barrel, Deco Art, Folk Art, and sometimes I use chalk paint. I like water-based paints. They dry fast and it's easy cleanup and there's no stinky fumes. So that's usually what I do work with. Now you can see here I'm painting around the etched lines. You could go ahead and paint over the whole thing and then cover it, because even though you paint over the lines, you can still see that etching that's done with the laser to get that in there. So we're just about finished up with this part, and then we'll go to the next phase. Tell me down in the comments, do you love using chalk paint, or what's your favorite paint to work with? So now here I've taken another shade of blue and using a brush, and I'm doing a dry brush technique, and you'll see in the end when we're finished it almost looks velvety. So this is a fun technique. Just make sure when you put your brush in the paint you dip off the excess so you don't have a lot, and then just go back over and add and dry brush to your heart's delight. And you can see some places it'll be heavier, some places it'll be lighter. That just gives it the nice finishing touch. Don't think about it. Just put the paint on your brush, dip off the excess, and put it on your canvas or your wood or whatever surface you're painting on. Just pick up your brush and just paint, right? So here we are, we're just finishing up, putting that in the light blue areas, coming back around, touching up just to make sure it makes my heart smile, and just about finished with that part. And then we're going to go on to the next step. So we're painting our stem, and you'll see as I go around here, I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera. We'll see in just a minute. But that etching lines does show through there. Yeah, you can see as I'm painted over, it's got the little swirl in the stem. You can still see that under the paint, which is the cool thing about getting a sign that has etching in it. You can still add those details at the end even after you have painted everything. I mixed a couple of shades of brown and just kind of blend with the same brush. You'll see there I took just a weeding tool to get the paint out of that etch line. That's just to give it a cleaner look. So we're using the same browns to do the center of our sunflower, and we use dark chocolate and bittersweet chocolate, and you can see on the palette there I just have them next to each other, and I dipped a brush in both colors. That's the way that I blend, nothing fancy. Just getting the paint on my brush and putting it on my surface and paint until it makes my heart smile. That's usually when I know that I'm ready to move on to the next step. Now here we're painting the leaves, and I have one shade of green. I believe that's eucalyptus is the shade. And then I tap that brush into the yellow just to give it a little more dimension. And, you know, because the leaves and flowers and things that are in nature, they're not perfect in one solid color. They have, you know, they've been through the weather and all the elements and the bugs crawling on them and eating on them and all the things. So just play around with your colors until you're happy with the result. And at the end of the day, if it makes your heart smile, then that is the perfect project, perfect finish. So just adding some brown in there to darken it up a little bit. There we go. There we're adding the yellow in. You darken it up, you lighten it up. Painting is a process. Just remember to trust the process, right? And I want to take a moment and just point out here these lovely ladies that I'm creating with today, and be sure to watch through the whole playlist so that you see all of their creations. Now here, as we go on to tap the or as we go on to do the center of the sunflower, I just use a little piece of sea sponge. I think you can get these at Dollar Tree. You can get them off of Amazon or wherever. I have these listed in our Amazon storefront with some of my favorite things. And I just tap that into the yellow paint, and it gives a nice, fun, textured look. So now we are using our metallic gold paint marker to color in these strands. Now, depending on how you choose to paint your pumpkin, this could be a rope, a ribbon, however you want it, but I love the look of this blue and the gold. It's just classic, and it's one of my favorite things to do, because sometimes we just have to be a little extra, right? So this paint pen makes it really easy to put that finishing touch and add a little bit of pizzazz with the gold metallic ink, and we're just going to use that to color in all of the parts of the ribbon. And when you're using the paint pen, you see there off to the side I have a piece of wood that I prime the marker on, and when you shake it during your painting your project, you want to make sure you put your lid back on so paint don't fly all over the place. But I usually have a scrap piece of wood there to the side. You could use a piece of paper or whatever to tap that marker on, prime it to get more paint to come down into the tip. So we're just going to go ahead and finish going through here and painting all of that. And be sure as you're going through the playlist and you're watching everybody to give them some thumbs up and show them some love in the comments. It would mean the world to them. I know it means the world to me. And it's a fun collaboration that we've got started here, and we hope to probably do more together in the future, and hope that you'll continue to join us. Look how pretty that gold is. Shimmer, shimmer, right? One of the things that I love about painting is all the different shades and techniques, and just being able to play with it, and it's just a very healing process for me. As soon as I pick up the brush and take one stroke, whatever's going on in my day is automatically just brings me and calms me right down. Give a little bit of that gold touch to that stem, and then we're going to go in and paint our petals. And of course I went with the Waverly brand chalk paint. This is the plaster color. It's not quite a bright white, and it's not really cream. It's just it's the perfect white that's not Snow White, right? Making some rhymes up in here today. So I'm just going to go around and paint those petals. And the good thing when you're using whites or off-whites and creams with the chalk paint is it covers so well. You usually just have to do one coat, and it covers your surface. Depending on what you're painting on is how much it absorbs it. Now, the wood that we use, we only use 1/4-inch birch wood, and it does really well for painting. I know some people use MDF. We do not use MDF, but I know when you're using MDF, it does takes a little bit more paint to get the coverage, but you get there eventually. We like the birch, we like the quality of it, and we love the wood finish, the striations of the wood. We like for that to show through. So on a lot of our projects, it won't have complete coverage because we want you to be able to see the beauty of the wood that's underneath. And it just it just comes out to be a prettier project to me. It's what I like to paint on, and that's what I want to offer. Is we don't sell or offer or recommend anything that we don't use in like using ourselves. So this is tested and true. This is the only wood that we purchase or paint on. So just a little places that I went back and touched up that to make sure we have some good coverage with that white petal. And we are about ready to go in and add some finishing touches. Isn't it pretty? Tell me down below, do you like the blue and gold, or are you more traditional, or are you even, like me, leaning more a little on the chinoise side? That's a fun technique that I've been doing a lot lately, is the chinoise. It's one of my favorite things to do now. But I will tell you this, spoiler alert, at the end when you see this, this is one of my favorite things I've painted lately. And I say that about everything, but I do love this one. It looks kind of velvet by the time we finish and get to the end with all the extra added details and get it ready to hang. It's super, super pretty. I've been excited to show y'all, but I've been patiently waiting. So now we want to have a little bit to blend that center in with the petals. So I went back to my sea sponge, dipped it in the green, and you can see it's a different shade from what we started. And I go over the center part, I go over the edges into the petals, so it looks a little more natural that way. And then I'm going to add some other colors just to keep that center from being just so bright yellow, because the center of sunflowers are a little yellow, a little brown. So I think that looks pretty good. What do you think? So here we're using that gold Deco Art Metallics, the 24 karat gold, and we're using a chip brush and going in and doing that same dry brushing technique. And again, you want just a very light hand. You don't want to weigh it down and drag it down on your surface. Just very lightly touch the surface, and as you can see how mine is, I've got too much paint when I start in a couple places, and it's heavy in some spots and light in other, but that's okay. I really do like the way that it does that, because I like it to be darker in some places than others. It just looks a little more natural, like it's supposed to be, and not like it's planned. Like I said, when you are dry brushing something, you don't want to think it through. You don't want to panic or overthink it. You just want to get the paint on your brush, get the excess off, and just go to your surface and just paint. Don't think about it too much. Just enjoy and trust the process, and I promise when you're done, you will love it. And if you don't, at the end of a project, if you don't love it, guess what? It's just paint. So you can either sand it off or paint over it. But something else I've learned for myself is when I finish something and I don't love it, if I walk away from it, sometimes even overnight, and go back to it, then I do love it the next morning. So I am putting a little touch of that gold up on the stems and the leaves as well. Got a little bit out of place there, so we're just touching that up so our petals stay nice and white. Give it a little look-see and see if that's how we like it. Now we're going to go back in with our gold paint marker. Usually I use black Posca markers to do my outlining and details, but this one just screamed, I need some more gold. So we're trimming out those petals and leaves and adding in some gold detail with the marker instead of you can use a liner brush or a small paintbrush, but I prefer to use the markers. And I will tell you, just a warning for these paint markers, that's the metallic colors, they do have a pretty strong odor. So just so you know, just a little bit of swirls here and there and the gold trim outline. You can add as little detail or as much as you want. Looking good, looking good. So now we are going to just go around the edges and paint that border. And if you go off the edge, it's okay. Looks like little golden creases, right? So we're going to go back around, finish up that part of the detailing. Gold makes everything better, don't it? So we're going to kind of balance out the sides with those marks. Add some more to the stem. Then decide, what else do we want here? Do we need more details? I could keep adding details for days. And then another trick too at the end is if you use a paint marker that's a similar or contrasting color to what you've painted, it gives it a nice crisp clean edge. It just cleans it up a little bit. You can probably tell the marker is a little bit off from the color of the gold, but that's really, when we do the markers, it does look like that. So now we're just adding the wire with the colorful beads to finish this off, and she's going to be ready to hang. So I just use wire that I get from Harbor Freight. It's very thin, it's easy, it's flexible, I can use it, don't hurt my hands. I take my pliers and curl the end, crimp them so nobody gets cut, and it makes it safe. And then just give it a little curly cue. Feed it from the back to the front, and then do this, and then you add your beads, and there we go. There's some up close and personal. Look at those pretty beads. Shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. Thank you for joining it. I hope you loved it, and come back and see me. Bye.